Okay, I am super late on this trend, but over the last few months, I've been using the ROG Ally a lot, and as someone who doesn't game as much as he used to anymore, I thought this would be the perfect way for me to get back into it and get in some gaming sessions here and there. But after getting this device, I don't know if that's really the case. I've grown to really love this thing, but at the same time, get really agitated with it. But I think I finally understand it. Let's talk about it. I have with me here the ROG Ally Z1 Extreme variant. At the timing of this video, this thing is $650. So all of my thoughts are going to be based on this version of the device, but there is a Z1 non-extreme version, which isn't nearly as powerful. The ROG Ally as a concept is super cool to me. A handheld gaming device that can play all of my favorite PC games on the go? What could be better? It's like a Nintendo Switch, but for PC gaming. It's like a Steam Deck, but not limited to Steam. What could be better? So what I like about this handheld form factor is that it doesn't force me to sit on a couch to play games on a TV like a more traditional console, and it doesn't force me to sit at my desk for hours to play PC games either. I'm not 16 anymore with ample time to lie to my parents about doing homework and play video games instead. Not that I ever did that, of course. And I also have this YouTube channel that I'm focused on when I'm not working my everyday job. So finding time to enjoy games in between all of that hecticness can get hard. But sometimes when I'm tired, stressed out, and want to just unwind, of course I'd love to just lay in bed or be lazy on the couch playing video games for an hour. And that's when the ROG Ally really excels. Like, in concept, it's the perfect device for this. You get the vast library of your PC games on something that fits in your backpack or oversized pocket. It's so nice that I can just pick it up and start gaming whenever and wherever I want. The ROG Ally runs on Windows, which means every game your big, hulky, bulky, RGB-ified gaming rig can play can also run on the ROG Ally, within reason. And honestly, for most games that I've tried, it runs on the ROG Ally reasonably well, unplugged at its 15-watt power profile, and performance is great for a handheld when you plug it in and use the 25-watt profile, which does draw more power and pushes more heat, but games run smooth and the fans are pretty quiet even at maximum speed. In a lot of ways, the ROG Ally as a physical device is really close to perfect. It's great that you can get this level of performance out of a gaming handheld with so much flexibility in what types of games you play, unlike a Switch that limits you to Nintendo games or your phone that limits you to what's available on the App Store. And that's why on paper I love what it stands for. A versatile, compatible, and powerful gaming handheld. Although not everything is as portable though, or as easy to power consistently. There can be many cases where your power cuts out due to an outage, or maybe you like the idea of camping, but live the good life for far too long and don't want to give up modern day luxuries like electricity. Well, that's when the Anker Solix F2000 comes into play. This is a portable 2048 watt-hour battery that can power so many things in your life, from portable fridges, laptops, a rack of networking gear, or even electric appliances like an electric grill. This thing can do it all. It can output a total of 3600 watts of power through the NEMA TT30 outlet, meaning it can even power your RV or power a bunch of things through its AC outlets or USB ports. Where I live in Texas, the power goes out from heavy storms several times a year, and having a large battery like the Anker Solix F2000 means I can keep all of my devices charged, power any appliances I may need, and even use the built-in light to navigate around in the dark while I wait for the power to come back on. This is now an integral part of my emergency power outage kit. That being said, it can also be used for camping too. I had the chance to take it on a glamping trip recently, and it powered our portable fridge, our rinse kit, and food warmer without ever getting close to running out of batteries on a nice 3-day trip. And if that isn't enough power to charge it on your long trips, you can also charge it using a 12-volt charger that you plug into your car, or charge it from 0 to 80% in just an hour using a standard wall outlet. And if you decide to use it this way, you can also connect to it via Bluetooth to control it and check on its status all through the Anker app. The F2000 has lithium iron phosphate batteries that will remain useful for up to 3,000 charge cycles. That's around 10 years of constant use. So if you're interested in the Anker Solix F2000, check out the link in the video description below. And thanks again to Anker for sponsoring this portion of the video. But what annoys me about the ROG Ally is some of the execution behind it that makes it feel incomplete in a lot of ways. It's great that this thing runs Windows and can run Windows games, but that also has a downside too, and it's the fact that it runs Windows and you have to deal with all the issues associated with it. Battery life in general is short on this device. It's roughly the same size as the Steam Deck's, but this thing drains pretty fast. And at times I get paranoid and feel like I always need to have this thing plugged in all the time when I'm not using it, just to make sure that I can use it the next time I pull it up. Also, Windows isn't really designed for handheld consoles with joysticks like this. It was designed for mouse and keyboard. With the ROG Ally, you can use the joystick as a mouse, and that's perfectly fine. But it's so much slower than having a mouse, and you have to rely on an on-screen keyboard to type. The screen is touchscreen, so it does help there, and Asus does have built-in software that they call Armory Crate to give you even more control over the ROG Ally and make it feel more like a device that's supposed to be controlled as a handheld with joysticks, and it does an overall good job. But still, not perfect. Despite being a handheld device that can connect to a dock and be used on a big screen like a TV, by default, you can't use a random controller and use it to control the Ally in desktop mode. The cursor just won't work. There are apps and workarounds to fix this. I mean, it's Windows, everyone's found a solution for something, but these do require some level of tinkering and troubleshooting, and for a device that's supposed to be portable and convenient, that's not very convenient. I do hope that Microsoft sees this emerging trend with so many PC manufacturers making similar devices. I just wish that they make handhelds using their OS a much more streamlined and simple process, because as is, the best way to use the ROG Ally, at least docked, is with the Bluetooth keyboard, Bluetooth mouse, and a controller if you want to use that in game, which isn't ideal for couch gaming. So if you're using the ROG Ally to game, the device shines best in handheld use and is absolutely fantastic there. In general, the battery life is not great. You can squeeze out an hour or two while running it on the 15-watt mode, but let me know if this is a controversial opinion, but the battery life, despite being pretty short, is fine. If you're using this at home, in bed, or on the couch, or during traveling, like in a car, train, hotel, or plane, you probably have access to an outlet anyway, especially on longer trips. Is it annoying to keep charged and plugged in? Yeah, it's like a gaming laptop in that regard. But if you are using this as a portable gaming device, you're probably not gonna play it for 4 hours straight without even needing to plug in. But you know, after I started using this device, I came into this thinking, oh, I'm gonna use it kind of like how I use my Nintendo Switch, as a handheld and sometimes docked, connected to my TV. That was a huge mistake. It's not great for TV gaming. So at first I was very disappointed about that, but I didn't realize at that moment, that's really not its strength at all. I shouldn't have tried to squeeze it into a box that it wasn't trying to accomplish. At the end of the day, this is not a portable gaming handheld or gaming console. It's a handheld PC that can play games. And once I started looking at it kind of like that, everything kind of just clicked for me. I know. I should have realized that a whole lot sooner, but we can all be a little dense at times. I use Macs daily, and the Asus ROG Ally makes a great little gaming PC handheld, but has also become sort of my main Windows PC for anything that I can't really do on a Mac, like play games or run certain applications. And when I look at it like that, a handheld PC, a laptop with joysticks instead of a keyboard and mouse, it changed how I feel about it. Just plugging it in directly to a USB-C docking station gives me access to an entire desk setup where I can just pair a mouse and keyboard alongside a controller, and I'm ready to just use it for PC stuff or gaming. It's a great desktop PC hybrid for people who already have a laptop for other things. And so that's why my perspective on this completely shifted, and why I found that I enjoyed this device more than I thought I did initially. But the biggest thing to note though, and the biggest concern you might have about this device, is that the SD card slot on this thing is prone to failure. So if you just Google it, you'll see horror stories of failing micro SD card slots and numerous failures on Asus's part in addressing this issue properly. I was walking through a Best Buy outlet the other day and saw a pile of open box ROG Allies. Now, this is just my assumption. I don't know this to be a true fact, so don't take my word for it. But I can't help but wonder if those devices were all returns due to failing micro SD card slots. Asus has come out and committed to repair these slots and replace broken SD cards, but this was only formally documented in April for the US. And there's also lots of concerns about Asus's RMA process as a whole to consider, and whether you're willing to deal with that when buying an Asus product. So just keep those different things in mind. So if you are interested in this or something similar, what are the alternatives? There are other Windows handhelds out there on the market that are very similar. I haven't tried those, so I can't speak to them as to how they feel or how they play, but I did spend time with the Steam Deck OLED, the other handheld I was considering before I settled for the ROG Ally. And the Steam Deck just felt way more console-like, to the point where you would have minimal tinkering compared to the Ally. But the moment you need to tinker with the Steam Deck, it's confusing if you don't know anything about Linux, aka me. I don't know anything about Linux. Trying to install games that aren't on Steam had me struggling figuring it out. I eventually did, but it was a learning experience for sure. But it also shows how nice a handheld gaming computer could be when everything worked seamlessly together under a cohesive OS. And if you're not playing intense games or play primarily Steam games and want better battery life, the Steam Deck OLED is the console-like experience, and that's the one to get. While the Ally gives you that Windows flexibility, the good and bad with it, and the performance for sure. If you're looking for just pure convenience, you could just play your games on your phone. If touch controls don't do it for you, you could get something like the Backbone 1, which has native PlayStation Remote Play support and can be used as a controller for your phone. Or if you're really trying to save a buck, you could just get a cheap Amazon phone mount for your PlayStation or Xbox controller. Neither of these options are perfect, but it lets me get my gaming fix regardless of where I am, and lets me stream my games through Remote Play or Steam Link, and it's a way more cost-effective way to play games without paying close to $700 on a portable gaming device. There's also an ROG Ally X now, which fixes the battery life issues by putting a higher capacity battery, but that device is a wallet-breaking $800. So a more costly device, but in exchange, the biggest negative of the ROG Ally is fixed. So in conclusion, even a year later, I don't think the ROG Ally is perfect. There's so much more software-wise that could help make this device better. But I love using it, flaws and all. I find myself reaching for it pretty often when I want a game, but going days between gaming sessions also means an annoying reminder that I need to charge this thing constantly. But it's so easy to grab this and just start playing when I want to. When I'm in games, it's a pretty overall smooth experience on low to medium settings for most games. And really, at that screen size, the highest graphical fidelity doesn't really matter to me. So it's easier to start gaming than it was before because it's so accessible to me now. But at the same time, it's not wrong to say that I think these gaming handheld devices, while cool, do need to cook a little longer in the oven. Ease of use of the entire software package that's holding back the ROG Ally family from going from good to great. Oh, and those RMA issues Asus has. Let's get that fixed too. All right, so would I purchase this again? I don't know. Like today, in October 2024, there's more competition than ever. So I'd be reconsidering devices that I've written off in the past, as well as considering brand new devices, like the Steam Deck for a more refined software experience, the ROG Ally X Z1 Extreme for that longer battery life, or whatever successor that's about to appear for the original ROG Ally. But it's interesting to see gaming handhelds become more of a commodity with many different manufacturers making their own things, and that's the exciting part. There's lots of options out there. But yeah, that's been my experience with the ROG Ally Z1 Extreme. It's made it really easy for me to game more often during those random downtimes that I have. It has become my primary Windows PC, but it's also become an inconvenience in other ways. But at the end of the day, I do enjoy it, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for these types of devices. Anyway, what do you personally think? With the rise of all these gaming PC handhelds, have you tried any? Are you using it as much as you thought? Which one stood out the most to you? I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.